United States Senate has advanced a war powers resolution that could prevent President Donald Trump from using military force against Iran without congressional authorization amid widening fallout from the conflict. The vote on a procedural measure to advance the resolution was passed on Tuesday by a margin of 50 to 47, with a handful of Republicans joining Democratic colleagues to pass the measure in a rare rebuke of the president.
Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in China on Tuesday evening for a two-day visit centred on talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping as Moscow and Beijing draw closer amid war, sanctions and an increasingly fractured global order. Putin's visit is the second face-to-face meeting he has held with Xi in less than a year and coincides with the 25th anniversary of the 2001 Treaty of Good Neighbourliness and Friendly Cooperation, the agreement that formalised ties between Russia and China following decades of ideological rivalry and mutual suspicion.
The United States will ensure that the Democratic Republic of the Congo's DRC football team can enter the country to play in the World Cup, making an exemption to an Ebola-related entry ban, according to a senior Department of State official. We expect the DRC team to be able to attend the World Cup, the official said, on condition of anonymity.
Former Cuban leader Raul Castro could be indicted for his alleged role in the shooting down of two civilian planes 30 years ago that killed 3 Americans and sent U.S.-Cuba relations plunging. The planes belonging to a Miami-based volunteer organization called Brothers to the Rescue were shot down in 1996, triggering the long-standing embargo on Cuba that remains in place today.
As with many other Cubans in their 70s, Alina Fernandez's first memory of Fidel Castro was watching his interminable speeches on television. My generation used to pray in front of the TV for him to finish so we would be able to watch our cartoons, she recalled in a CNN interview Monday. That's the way I grew up.
The National Association for the Advancement of Coloured People, NAACP, has called on black athletes and fans to boycott public universities in the United States South in opposition to redistricting efforts that dilute black voting power. The so-called Out of Bounds campaign, launched on Tuesday, calls on black athletes, their families, alumni and fans to withhold athletic and financial support from major public universities in states that have moved to limit, weaken or erase black voting representation. Anti-government protests have escalated across Bolivia, with thousands of people demanding the resignation of center-right President Rodrigo Paz as road blockades leave the administrative capital, La Paz, short of food, fuel and medicine. On Monday, farmers, miners, teachers, public sector workers and indigenous communities converged on the city after weeks of mobilizations over wage increases, economic instability and moves to privatize state-owned companies. Health authorities in the United States have said that a medical missionary who contracted Ebola in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, is being transported to Germany for treatment. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, said on Tuesday that the patient would be treated at Charité University Hospital in Berlin following a U.S. request for assistance.
Messaging platform giant Discord has switched on end-to-end encrypted voice and video messaging for every user. The end-to-end encryption feature means that Discord users can now communicate privately without anyone else being able to listen in to their calls, not even Discord. This is a major privacy win for the community's hundreds of millions of users, soon after social media giant Meta pulled the plug on Instagram's end-to-end encrypted messaging feature earlier this year. TikTok said it would also not end-to-end encrypt user messages after it became a US company.
At the Google I/O 2026 keynote, the tech giant revealed new agentic capabilities in search, where users can create, customize, and manage multiple AI agents to stay updated on topics of interest. The announcement is part of Google's larger push toward agentic AI systems that can take initiative and assist with ongoing tasks instead of answering one question at a time. Unlike traditional search tools that respond only when prompted, Google's information agents are designed to operate continuously in the background 24/7, helping users stay informed about their interests without needing to repeatedly search for the same information every day.
Google isn't finished infusing AI into your inbox. On Tuesday at their I/O 2026 Developer Conference, the tech giant announced an expansion of its AI inbox functionality for Gmail, which is adding conversational AI features. That means you can ask Gmail about things in your inbox. The company says the Gemini AI-powered feature, called Gmail Live, will help you quickly find information buried in your inbox.
Google announced at its annual Google I/O event on Tuesday that it's launching Pix, a new AI-powered design and image generation app for Google Workspace. The tech giant says it designed the app to be accessible to everyone, from teachers to small business owners. With Pix, users can generate everything from social media graphics and invitations to marketing materials and mock-ups using simple text prompts without needing any editing skills or advanced tools. By giving users an easy way to generate visuals, Google is looking to take on popular design apps like Canva, as well as products from AI-native competitors like Claude Design from Anthropic. Google's entry into the space signals that AI-powered design is fast becoming a core competitive arena, with real stakes for any business that depends on visual content. UK citizens are among dozens of nationalities who will soon have to apply for a visa if they wish to stay in Thailand for more than 30 days. Tourists from 93 countries have been able to visit without needing a visa for 60 days since July 2024, as part of a government effort to boost the economy following the COVID pandemic.
The United Nations has said 15,850 people, including 791 children, have been killed in Ukraine since Russia's full-scale invasion of the neighbouring country in February 2022. The actual figures are likely significantly higher. Kyoko Goto, Europe and Central Asia Director of the UN's Department of Political and Peacebuilding Affairs, DPPA, told the UN Security Council on Tuesday. Arsenal are confirmed Premier League champions for the first time since 2004, as Manchester City failed to win at Bournemouth. City needed to win their final 2 games, as well as hope. Arsenal failed to win their final match, but were held to a 1-1 draw on Tuesday.
US President Donald Trump has given reporters a tour around the construction site of his controversial White House ballroom, saying it would feature a rooftop drone empire designed to protect the Capitol.
Mikel Arteta has silenced his doubters by awakening sleeping giant Arsenal, restoring the Gunners to the top of English football, 22 years on from Arsene Wenger's Invincibles. Arsenal have finally got over the line to vindicate the Arteta project that began with his appointment back in 2019.
The jury's speedy decision to reject Elon Musk's lawsuit against the other founders of OpenAI and Microsoft confirmed what we saw in the courtroom. Musk's case was a weak one, in part because he waited so long to file it. Watching the closing arguments last week, OpenAI's attorneys detailed point by point how the law was on their client's side, while the plaintiff's team focused on Sam Altman's apparent lack of credibility and expressed disbelief that anyone would disagree with Musk's accusations.
Shay Schwartz knows a lot about email phishing attacks. As a teenager, he made money as a hacker, but after getting caught at age 16, he realised he could use his cyber talents to prevent attacks rather than launch them. He went on to spend about a decade in top-tier cybersecurity roles, leading major projects for Israel's elite defence and intelligence units. Before joining Axis, the startup later acquired by HPE.
Startup acquired by HPE.
3-year-old Mack Industries has acquired solid rocket motor startup Squadron in a $50 million cash and equity deal, the Huntington Beach-based defense startup tells TechCrunch. Squadron, now rebranded as Mack Energetics, has been fully folded into Mack's operations, giving it direct control over one of the most important and constrained components in modern unmanned systems. The deal itself started with a lucky break. The two companies first connected last September when an Squadron customer at an MIT recruiting event happened to overhear a Mack recruiter mention that the company was in the market for a solid rocket motor supplier. Introductions were made, Mack came in as a customer, and now, roughly 5 months later, it has acquired the company outright, beating out upwards of 8 other potential buyers in the process, it says.
Authorities confirmed the identities of 2 other men killed in an attack on the Islamic Center of San Diego. In the latest apparent hate incident in the United States, mosque officials on Tuesday said Mansour Kaziha and Nader Awad had been killed when 2 gunmen attacked the religious site the day before. Southampton have been expelled from the English Football League, EFL, Championship playoff final after admitting to spying on a training session of semi-final opponents Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have been reinstated as a result of Tuesday's decision and are set to face Hull at Wembley on Saturday for a place in English football's Premier League.
There appears to be a shift in the years-long conflict in Ukraine. Last weekend, Ukrainian forces struck deeper into Russian territory, piercing its air defences in a large strike on the Moscow region.
Google is getting back into the smart glasses game. At Google I/O on Tuesday, the company announced a new partnership with Warby Parker and Gentle Monster to produce new line of AI-powered glasses. The company says that the devices will be built to pair with Android and iOS devices and were designed in collaboration with Samsung. They will be available later this year, the company said. A high-level people smuggler identified in a BBC investigation has been arrested in Iraqi Kurdistan. A network run by Cardo Jaff, who operates under the alias Cardo Rania, is believed to have transported thousands of illegal migrants in small boats across the English Channel into the UK in recent years.
The son of Mango founder Ishak Andik has been arrested in connection with his father's death. Jonathan Andik, 45, was detained by Catalan police on Tuesday as part of a renewed investigation into the death of the fashion tycoon, which was initially treated as an accident but was later reopened.
Fear has gripped Ebola-hit areas in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo as the suspected number of deaths continues to rise, as officials say they are struggling to catch up to an outbreak that may have previously been spreading undetected. Ebola has tortured us, says a taxi rider in his late 20s in the gold mining town of Rwampara.
United States President Donald Trump has endorsed Texas State Attorney General Ken Paxton in the Republican runoff to represent the state of Texas in the U.S. Senate in advance of next week's Republican primary. Donald Trump said that Paxton has been extremely loyal to me and our amazing MAGA movement, while also saying that his opponent incumbent, John Cornyn, was not supportive of him when times were tough.
A body set up by United States President Donald Trump to oversee the administration and reconstruction of the Gaza Strip has said that it is short of the funds needed to move forward with those efforts. Trump's so-called Board of Peace has warned of a significant gap between the funds disbursed and the $17 BN pledged to the organisation, according to media reports on Tuesday. Tehran, Iran, when Mohammed, a 29-year-old resident of Western Tehran, renewed his tenancy contract earlier this week. The price increase did not come as a surprise. His landlord had raised the rent for the 20-year-old apartment to 230 million rials 130, up from 130 million rials 73.